All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Sunday evening. Another edition of KFTV Weekly, episode 134, where we recap the Knicks week that was and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. On tonight's show, the Knicks would go 2-1 on their weekly campaign with wins over the Memphis Grizzlies and the Miami Heat in an NBA Cup matchup, and a tough loss to the Orlando Magic. And speaking of tough losses, the Knicks will be without their top dog for at least 2 weeks. So the injury woes continue. We're going to start the show off with just that and talk about how the Knicks survive without OG Anunoby, plus our player of the week and a new segment we are ripping the bow off called our Fanchise Forecast. So lock in, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Salute to the replay gang, and of course, happy Monday to those catching up on the replay side of things. CP the Fanchise, Alex Trataros on the ones and twos. Let's get into it. All right, how you feeling, man? How you feeling, bro?
Good, man. You know, the Jets got the loss out early in the week, so I get to enjoy the Sunday, just throw on Red Zone, chill, watch football with little man, just, take a nice, easy Sunday day.
Yeah, there you go.
I like those type of days. How about yourself?
Less stress for you? It was good. It was good. G-Man got a quality loss. I was pleased, and then I went on and carried on with my day.
Loss.
In my acceptance phase of being a Giants fan. So there that was. But then we get the news that we're shorthanded again because the dog, OG Anunoby, left the Heat game, the Knicks versus Heat game, NBA Cup game, with a left hamstring strain. The news came out that he is now going to be out for at least 2 weeks. At least. Maybe meaning he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. And so with that being said, how did you react to the news of the Knicks losing OG, man? What do you think?
Honestly, it's not even a surprise to me. When I saw him pull his hammy, I was like, man, he's going to miss some time. Like, that's just who he is as a player. Like, last year we got lucky. Let's keep that in mind. Last year we got lucky, like where he didn't miss many games. Every time he hit the deck, you're like, this season, he deals with a tweak in his hammy, take 2 weeks. I would say I would feel a little bit more probably annoyed about the injury. Not at him, obviously, at the injury, because you want your team to be healthy and so forth. But the fact that the matter is that the Knicks have an easy schedule coming up relatively for these next 12 games. And so when I spoke with CK on post game after, they just mollywopped the Heat, I was like, you know what? If you're going to have Brunson and OG miss time, this is probably the right time for them to miss it. And I want your opinion, CP, because CK and I said they can go 9-3 during this time period without Brunson and OG. But I want your thoughts. So I'm going to list the 12 games. We did the 10 games, we did the 10 game breakdown, but just to talk about the next 2 games that go on top of that, it's Miami that we get Monday, then Dallas, Orlando, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Milwaukee, Toronto, Boston, Charlotte, Utah, Orlando, Indiana. So that will take us all the way to December 18th. So a little bit longer than 2 weeks, but just to give a little bit of cushion, and obviously Brunson's day to day. What do you think about that with OG and Brunson? Well, Brunson's TBD, but with at least OG missing that time period.
Yeah, all winnable. All winnable games. Look, obviously you don't want to look past anybody on the schedule, but it is a quote-unquote lighter part of the schedule. I think the schedule will start to get a little bit more challenging after the NBA Cup and into the new year. But for now, yes, they will have 5 games on the road. They'll go to Miami on Monday for a rematch for the third matchup there. They will go to Dallas, go to Orlando, they will go to Charlotte, and they will go to Brooklyn. Or they will go to Brooklyn, then go to Charlotte. So all winnable games on that schedule. But nevertheless, I'm with you in that with OG's injury, it's something that you have to expect every year, especially a hamstring. Every time he goes down, every time he takes a hard drive to the basket, you have to hold your breath and hope that he's going to be able to get through it and be able to play the next play at next play speed, as Mike Brown would say. But it's one of those things that you have to expect. The Knicks were very fortunate last year with whole team wise in terms of their injuries, and it just to think that we were going to have the same luck 2 years in a row just doesn't work like that in the NBA, man. Especially at the speed that these guys play at, the physicality that they play at. Unfortunately for the Knicks, it's going to happen. And for OG, it stinks because he was having a great year so far, career highs across the board. I mean, his differential with the Knicks, bro, is a plus 23.5. All right, so talk about a guy who gives you two-way maximum effort and is an impact player, whether you look at the stat sheet or not. And so, when you think about defensively at the point of attack, shooting the gaps, taking the chances, getting the steals, a complete disruptor, you're going to be missing that. And you're going to be facing, some good talent on the wings on this trip. Norman Powell, all-star campaign. You're going to see Franz. You'll see Miles Bridges when you go to Charlotte. You're going to see Cooper Flagg. So you're going to see a number of good wings and guard wing tweeners along this road trip, and without OG, it's gonna be tough without him, man. So it's time for him to heal up. It's time for Captain Clutch to heal up, and for the Knicks, it's a next man up situation.
Absolutely. And look, last season, this is a guy who was averaging 18 points, getting you, what was it right here, about 5 rebounds per game, 2 assists, 1.5 steals, about 1 block, and that's just last year. And he was shooting 47.6% from the field, 37% from downtown, had an effective field goal percentage of 56%. And this is how he was starting this year. He was averaging 16 points, was getting, he was getting close to 6 rebounds, 5.6 rebounds per game, same amount of assists. Started the year off with 1.9 steals, 0.7 blocks. Like, he was really on a pace to really make, he was already starting to garner, all defensive team, type of nods. You talk about all-star type performance as well, just his efficiency. I mean, still shooting the same percentage, shooting 39% on higher volume this season from downtown, and then even a higher effective field goal percentage at 58.2%. So guy was just rolling to start the season. And that's the thing, though, with injuries, is that now you go off with an injury, come back, you hope they can stay in rhythm, but once you come back from an injury, it takes some time to ramp back up. And with OG, man, because of his lengthy injury history, you just don't want to rush this guy back to the court. You want to make sure that he's fully healthy, able to take contact, and also just play at the same game speed that he was at the beginning of the season. So, they say 2 weeks. Hopefully it's 2 weeks. But this is also a guy that you don't want to rush, because the impact that he makes defensively, it's why he's one of the highest paid players in the league. We were having that conversation with LD, we talk about Cat's contract value, OG's contract value. Some may say it's overpaid, but for a guy who can guard 1 through 5 very easily, and then when you're talking about giving you 18 points efficiently on one end last season, and it looked like he was about to do even greater than that this season, yeah, he's absolutely worth that money. And to, like I said, playing at an all-star type level, all defensive type level, totally worth it. But they're not going to rush him back. They're going to make sure that he is healthy when he returns. You just hope that he can stay at that same pace that he was playing at to begin the season. May take some time once he returns, but that's the hope, man. And hey, I wish nothing but a speedy recovery to OG.
Yeah, speedy recovery to the dog. And as I pull up some of his numbers, at 39% from 3, he was in the 93rd percentile from the corner 3 at 49%. The rim numbers, 66% at the rim, and an overall effective field goal percentage, it went up from 56.2 he finished with last year. He's at 58.2 here this year, before leaving with the injury. And we talked about his on-off, the differential at 23.6. He's in the 98th percentile in differential, a plus 48 expected wins. And then again, on the defensive side, a 98th percentile in on-off stats and defense. Teams are shooting a minus 19.5 points per 100 possessions when he's on the court. They're minus 4.2% lower effective field goal percentage when he's out there on the court. The rebounding numbers, the free throw rate, they're not fouling as much when he's out there in the court. So all those things, especially when we think about the Knicks defense and some of the holes, some of the warts that this team has that's showing from last year, you take OG out of that, I think there's going to be, some leaking holes. There's going to be some leaking holes on this defense that we're going to see over the coming games.
Yeah, man. Like I said, he's a switchable defender, 1 through 5. And the way that he's able to attack passing lanes, capable of getting blocks, like, he covers a lot of the mistakes, man. And I mean, when you think about having him, Mitch, McBride, Bridges out there, even Hart, like, those are guys that you just want collectively all together, because for this team, when you have guys like Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, who defense is not their forte, you want to make sure that you at least have guys that are capable of playing at a high level to mask those deficiencies. It's a team sport after all, right? So, like, you're going to have guys that are stronger in other areas, and that's what they do, man. That's what these guys are brought in to do, not only to score, but to play defense at a high level. So without OG for some time period, man, and this is what's even more tough, is that now if you don't have OG, Mitch is already like on a games restriction. McBride's really just your best perimeter defender. Bridges, like, yes, he's switchable. He's like above average. He's not. I'm not going to say he's like the elite defender, right? But he's a good defender. He's above average for sure. But it's like what OG does, you just can't replicate, and we don't have enough of that on this team. And then I know what you always talk about, having enough wings.
Right.
Now you're down a wing for some time, and it's like, what do you do to mask that, to like work around it? These are the things, man, with the roster construction here, especially when you have a guy who has such a unique skill set that cannot be replicated and just takes your team to that next level.
Well, when Mike Brown talked about in training camp, when he felt like, maybe it's coach speak, maybe it's not, but when Mike Brown felt that everybody in this roster was going to play at some point during the season, well, we've reached a point in the season where you're going to have to see Mohamed Diawara. You're going to have to see Pacome Dadier get thrown into the fire. Throw these guys into the deep end. We're watching around the league now several draft picks that the Knicks passed up on in that 24 draft. Look at what A.J. Mitchell is doing with the OKC Thunder. My gosh, he's ready to usher in the next wave of talent for the OKC Thunder. Like, it's crazy. Look at Larson with the Heat.
Yes.
Right? He's starting for the Miami Heat right now. And I get it. The Dadier pickup was a salary cap exercise, and, they got Kolek in the second round, but these guys got to have to start showing something. They got to start showing a little bit something that they're even capable of playing rotation minutes, situational minutes, whatever it is. So now's the time for next man up, for them to step up. Pacome Dadier being first. He was the Knicks' first-round pick. Like, where is he? If I'm one of the guys on the beat, I'm asking Mike Brown, what is the plan for your young players at this moment in time? And so I'm looking at Dadier, Diawara. Is it Trey Jemison going to be getting more burn? Does Tosan get a look? I like him as a scrappy player, as a scrappy wing. He can give the Knicks some energy. They're going to need it. They're going to need to expand that rotation, and those guys are going to have no better opportunity than now to showcase themselves.
Absolutely, CP. Absolutely. And especially Diawara. I mean, he's the most intriguing, especially what we saw in Summer League. Especially if you want to talk about wingspan and switchability while OG is out, and defense. He gives you all of that, especially when you're looking from a defensive lens of what you're going to be missing. But to your point, if we're going to keep it a buck and put the front office to the fire, the whole point is you wanted to bring in a head coach that was, focused around development, communication. You brought in like this whole developmental staff. You went with a lot of these guys that you talked about after you passed up on certain players in last year's draft, even in this year's draft. So if you're going to do all that, and now if you have Mike Brown saying guys are going to play, to your point, they got to play. There's no question that they need to play, because then it's, if you're going to live by what you're putting out there, and not saying that they need to like sit down and talk with the media, but if you're going to be putting out quotes and saying what your thought process is, you have to live by it at least. Otherwise, next thing you know, it's like the trust in the front office. What are you guys actually thinking? And did you guys make bigger blunders with these draft picks? Because if I don't see Dadier, if I don't see Kolek, if I don't see Diawara, if I don't see any of these guys, that means You guys don't believe in any of these guys that you drafted. And then I got to start looking at Walt Perrin and be like, yo, who are we drafting over
What
here?
are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. So these guys better play. And even if they struggle, that's fine. They're going to struggle. These guys are young. These guys are rookies, second year. They haven't gotten enough experience. I'm not expecting them to go out there and be perfect. But I do expect them to go out there and learn. And there's no better time to learn than getting real-time game time experience. So go give them that experience. And especially if you believe these guys are projects. Projects got to touch the court at some point.
Yeah. For sure. So what happens with the dog, we shall see. But for now, it's at least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks. And then he will be reevaluated. But just as you said, Alex, I'm with you 100%. He's a guy, because of the way that he plays defensively, and hey, he's a guy who attacks the rim with aggression. You want to make sure that he's 100% before he gets back out there on that court. So maybe it's 2 weeks, maybe it's a little more, maybe it's Christmas Day against the Cavaliers before we see OG, whatever it needs to be. The Knicks need to take their time with this and make sure that they get OG right. Whether it's OG, whether it's Cap. I said this on the show the other day. I said, run the clock. just let's cross off some dates, man. Just run the clock so we could just fast forward a little bit. And
you want to sim. You want to sim to their back.
Yeah,
to their
sim.
back.
Let's sim through December, say mid-December, and see where things are. Now, Jalen is expected to make the trip with the team. Not sure if that's a sign that he's close or this is just a moral support type of thing. But Jalen is expected to make the trip with the team. OG will not make the trip with the team. So, we'll see what happens with there. We will have an orthopedic surgeon, Al, on the show joining us for postgame tomorrow, Monday, Knicks versus Heat postgame show. Talk a little bit about the Brunson ankle injury and how these things keep happening and what the recovery time typically looks like. So we're going to have an orthopedic surgeon here, man. We're gonna go to medical school on this show tomorrow night, man.
Well, let's go, man. That's awesome. That's sick. I also expect you to get some free advice too, for medical advice
for sure.
Diagnosis. So you're getting ready for next season because we gotta win the title again next year, right?
No question. I need to ramp up. I'm day to day still on the Knicks Twitter Day tournament. I've been day to day since the tournament in last summer, so I'm slowly recovering. But you mentioned the schedule. Looking ahead, the Knicks will be in Miami on Monday. Then at Dallas, you have Orlando, Brooklyn, at Charlotte. Then you have versus Milwaukee. That's NBA Cup Black Friday. No OG. Who's guarding Giannis in that game? Who is guarding Giannis in that game?
That game is terrifying to me, to be honest with you.
Wow. You have Toronto, RJ Quickly homecoming, at Boston versus the Hornets, versus the Utah Jazz, versus Orlando again. So that's number 3. Against the Orlando Magic, December 7th. So you're going to have 2 games against Orlando that where you won't even have OG. For Orlando, will they have Paolo? We'll see. They didn't have him tonight. They lost to the Rockets in overtime. Good game. That was a good game. I don't know if you saw that. It was a good game. Orlando at Rockets tonight. I was watching that. So you have home versus Orlando, then at Indiana on the 18th. So between the 7th and the 18th, if the Knicks are not going to Vegas for the NBA Cup, that's another 11 days right there. So... maybe we're looking at a month, realistically, because that kind of makes sense anyway.
Look, and I think the thing that we got to think about too is I guess I wonder too, like how hard are they going to gun for the NBA Cup? Do you want to actually take that week off and have guys rest too, before like just to make sure everyone's on the same page? Because the big thing here is winning a championship. And this is not me saying I don't like the NBA Cup, but I love it. I love everything that it adds to the NBA. But if you're the Knicks in the position that you're looking for, the NBA Cup is like a cherry on top if you win that. That's not really your main priority. So do you really want to go out there and start gunning for it? Not saying that they're going to start losing games, but how important are those wins and racking up the points each and every single matchup is it to them? So I don't know, man. Part of me also thinks that they're going to be happy if they make it. They're also not going to be like totally upset if they don't make it because I feel like I felt like last year they're really trying. I think it was Milwaukee that took them out, but
it was the Hawks. We lost to the Hawks. That was
that's right. It was
Trae
the
Young
Hawks.
Dice roll.
Good
game.
Lord, I'm thinking 2 seasons ago with
dice money.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, that was
I'm upset.
Trae
I
Young.
got to think about that.
That
Anywho,
Trae Young got us, man, with the dice game. So Yeah, I dig it. Again, winnable games, but it may be worth their while to push them until the 18th or maybe even Christmas. You know, we need the dog healthy, man. It's going to be very important to get the dog healthy. So we'll see which direction the Knicks go in. And we're going to recap the rest of the week. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Before we do that, let's shout out one of our sponsors of tonight's show, and that is Manscaped. Hey, use our code KFTV at manscaped.com for 15% off plus free shipping. What is Manscaped? It is the #1 men's grooming tool, both above and below the waist. You know, Manscaped has been with us now for about 8 out of the 9 years, or about 7 out of the 9 years that we've been doing this show. And since we've been doing this show, Manscaped has grown similarly to KFTV, in which they've evolved and developed a lot of nice products for today's man. And so before, Manscaped was just the Lawnmower 5.0 or the Lawnmower, which was their ball bag trimmer for the family jewels. Whether you want to go with the Jordan or you want to go with the Van Gundy, depending on the season, you do what you do with the Lawnmower. But now they have products like the Handyman. This is your close knit shaver, Al. You got the Handyman, right? Mm-hmm. So you get up right there on that neckline. And then you have the electric foil shaver. And this is the Chairman Pro. All right, so the Chairman Pro, man, you have your electric foil shaver, smooth glide, you smooth blades here, LED spotlight. You could do it in the dark, whatever you're into. They have the travel lock, which is good for my guys on the go, so this thing doesn't go off in your bag. Up to 75 minutes of run time. That's one thing about the Manscaped products, whether it's the Lawnmower, the Handyman, or the Chairman. You get good run time here off of one charge. Easy to rinse here with the Chairman Pro. All right, so those of you that use the electric foil shaver, very easy to rinse. Pack it up in a bag. You got the travel lock, LED spotlight. This is your go-to here, man. 15% off plus free shipping, and they ship to a number of places. USA, Canada, South America, Europe. You have Asia, Singapore, South Africa, a number of places around the world for our people at the #1 show for the fans by the fans. Manscaped.com. Use promo code KFTV. 15% off plus free shipping. Al, Knicks go 2-1 on the week. Get a win over Ja Wick and the Grizzlies. Lose a tough one to Orlando, and then a win over the Miami Heat in the NBA Cup. How'd you react to the week? How'd you look back on the week?
Good week for the most part. Obviously I wanted them to defeat the Orlando Magic. Didn't like seeing that physicality really threw the Knicks off their block. I don't care if it was the second night of a back-to-back. The physicality just made them look uneasy, and I hope they're able to bounce back stronger throughout the season as it continues. But love what they did against the Grizzlies and against the Miami Heat. Once again, CP, this team put up over 75 points in the first half. Then you're talking about over 130 points through, four out of the last 5 games?
Yeah.
4 out of the last 5 games. They were able to put up over 130 points. So to me, I'm liking that I see that this team has an offensive identity, that these guys are moving the rock, that these guys are cutting the speed that they're reading while things are breaking down while they're on the offensive end. You want to see the defense improve. I don't really expect the defense to be, top tier as it throughout the regular season, just because you're trying to save your legs for the postseason. But offensively, I like it. And the fact that the Knicks lost OG and Brunson against the Heat and they were still able to put up 140 points. Now, I know they had some guys that just went berserk and that they shot above their weight, but it's good to see that they still stuck to the same philosophy and principles that Mike Brown wants, even without their 2 top guns. And so for that, I think it's a good week for the New York Knicks and moving forward, because they're going to still continue to work on what Mike Brown's doing. I think it shows me confidence that this team can still compete while Brunson and OG are healing.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was a good week. I did expect a win over Memphis. Orlando was a tricky one, just being on the second night of a back-to-back. Did I want that win off? Absolutely, but it was a tough one. Orlando came out, and they were on their game. They took it to the Knicks for all 48 minutes. As Paolo Banchero said coming into that game, they circled that date on their calendar, and it really showed. And for the Knicks, it looks like their legs couldn't carry them. And for Orlando, their legs did, because, they were attacking the Knicks relentlessly at the rim. Franz Wagner was amazing in that game. I said it on that post game during the Magic game. I said very few people put the dog in a kennel. Giannis has, and this year Franz really did a number on OG and the Knicks as a whole. And I was very impressed with his game. Anthony Black, I was impressed with his game. So Orlando, they sent the message to the Knicks and as a team to be reckoned with. So that was a good warning shot by them. But I did like how the Knicks bounced back, as you said, against Miami. Very shorthanded now with no Cap and OG only playing just a couple minutes in the first quarter. But to me, that game was set by Karl Anthony Towns, his aggressiveness for the entire night, which was fantastic. And then once Josh got in the game and really handled the point guard duties, I felt like that's when things really opened up for the Knicks in that game against the Heat. So, as you said, offensively, there's a lot to like, but defensively, for me, that's where my concern is. They finished the week as the number 18th ranked defense in the NBA, and somehow their three-point defense is even worse than it was last year. So that's a little bit of a concern to me. Is it an effort? Is it scheme? We'll have to dig in a little bit deeper over the course of the season with more of a sample size to determine that. Or is it just the personnel? I think it's a combination of all three. But their three-point defense needs to improve. They give up a ton. They're worse in the league in terms of opponent three-point attempts. And then at the three-point accuracy, they're right there. So they've got to shore that up. Yes, we want to be aggressive in the paint and take away those rim attacks, but you also want to be able to get out to those three-point shooters, and in particular the corner three. They're one of the best corner three-point shooters in the league, but they're one of the worst defending it as well. So they're getting a dose of
their own. Can't have everything, CP.
They can't have everything. They're getting a dose of their own medicine. I want to see that defense improving a little bit. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we're going to get to see that with OG Anunoby being out. And he is the head of the snake when it comes to that Knicks defense. It's going to be tough, man.
Going to be tough. And, on top of that, when you have a guy like Mitchell Robinson, who, as I said earlier, is going to be in and out of the lineup, you want to make sure that he makes it all the way to April. You don't have him. You don't have OG. That defense is going to look very suspect at times, man. Everyone's going to be attacking the rim. Guys are going to get shots up. So that's why, even with that being said, I'm still confident because you go back to no Brunson, no OG, and you're still able to put up 140 points. I think the offense is going to be just fine. And on top of that, guys should be learning and expanding their roles and showing their capabilities while Brunson and OG is out. We saw that last year when Brunson, after that ankle injury against the Lakers, we saw what Mikal could do. We saw what Josh could do. We saw what other guys were capable of doing. But once Brunson came back, everything just reverted back to what it should be, which is, Brunson, you just dribble the living daylights out of the ball, and then we'll work off of what you can do. This season, we're seeing that Mike Brown wants everybody to initiate the offense. Everyone's getting touches. So I'm more hopeful that way that if guys do expand their roles while Brunson is out, then Mike Brown will identify what their new strengths are, maybe that he didn't know, and recognize that and say, hey, we got to implement that so that way these guys can stay even more aggressive and be more polished once the postseason comes around.
And with that being said, we got to talk about our player of the week as voted on by the fans, Al, and it is the birthday boy who just celebrated his 30th birthday, Karl Anthony Towns, coming in this week, or finishing the week, averaging 25 points per game, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 44.8% from the field, 38.5% from three, 81% from the charity stripe, and 1.7 steals by the Big Bodega, man. Talk about the Big Bodega this week and the big week that he had.
Yo, man, these past 3 games, this guy is averaging, let me just make sure I'm getting it right. This guy is averaging 25 points, shooting 45% from the field, shot 39% from downtown, averaging 12 boards, 4 assists, which is good to see. 4 assists is really good to see. And on top of that, CP, close to 2 steals, 1.7 to be exact. This guy is doing the damn thing this week. And look, the biggest one that's going to stick out is what you said, is that Brunson goes down. He instantly becomes aggressive and decides to take over. That's going to be so critical moving forward for this team while Brunson and OG recover. But everything you saw from Karl Anthony Towns, talking about the quad injury to start the season, starting the season saying he has no idea how he's going to fit into Mike Brown's offense. Well, it looks like he figured it out, and he's looking even much better as the season progresses. So I like what Karl Anthony Towns is doing, man, especially the off-ball movement. The off-ball movement's been key for him, man, because you're not going to stop a 7-footer barreling down the lane, especially with his type of shooting. So now you're adding another element to his game outside of just posting up, shooting threes, right? Now you're getting a guy who's working off-ball. Now he's becoming more of a threat offensively. How do you stop him? This is what defense is going to have to try to figure out, man. But great week for Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, fantastic week for Cat. And to me, it just starts with just taking advantage of the matchups, because there's very few people that can really take Karl Anthony Towns out of his game or even shut him down, if you will, because you can't shut anybody down in this era of NBA. But for me, it's the aggressiveness and it's the confidence to understand that you can't be checked and you cannot be stopped. And that's what he showed against the Miami Heat. And especially with Jalen out and with OG out, that's a lot of offense that the Knicks were missing. So it required Karl to you got to let it fly, in a constructive way, not in a reckless way. Right? You still want to play within the confines of the game, but you also have to be aggressive with your shots because, again, Jalen averaging 28 a game and OG averaging 18, that's 46 points right there out of your lineup. So Cat had to take it on himself to just, be aggressive, let the chips fall where they may, rely on the Knicks to get the offense second chance opportunities. So even if he misses on those long threes, the Knicks still being a good rebounding team with Josh out there and Mitch getting his 8 against the Miami Heat, you can afford to miss shots as long as you're getting them in rhythm. It is what it is because you're going to most likely get it back. So just overall, just a great job by him. Continue to keep him healthy and just to see him continue to stay aggressive, both as a shooter and as a playmaker. Cat was outstanding, especially against the Heat, and I think that's going to continue, man. It looks like he's settling in this offense. And with Jalen out, it could be a blessing for Towns because he's now the go-to guy. Like, you ever notice, especially when Brown staggers the lineups, that's typically when Towns does his best work, is when he is the focus of the offense. Yeah, you want to see more chemistry with him and Jalen and them being a potent 1-2 combo. I really want to see that, and maybe we will as the season progresses. But one thing we do know is that when he is the feature of the offense, good things typically happen. And so while the captain is out now and even while OG is out, I think you will see this same production from Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, man, the aggression goes up when he is the main focus. Absolutely. Let me ask you this, though. Because, look, we know that with Mitch being in and out of the lineup, Cat is then your de facto starting center. I know we see that they want to run the double big lineup. It's just not possible based on wanting to maintain Mitch for the postseason run that they're thinking ahead of. So with guys like Brunson and OG missing out, you're going to have to be more offensive driven. Is there any concern him getting too many minutes?
Could be. Well, we'll have to see where Brown goes there. Because you're going to need that production, right?
You're going to need that production just because who else is he is your most efficient offensive gun out there. So
yeah,
you can't really be resting him, especially if you're not going to have the same level of defensive production. You're then going to have to win by, obviously it's obvious basketball knowledge, right? It's like whoever puts up the most points wins. But if you're a team that's not going to be playing great defense, then you really got to be putting up some points, man. I mean, to see that we're winning by 130 is great, but when teams are also putting up 120, 130 on you, and you're winning by 10 points in that same span, it's not giving you a lot of confidence that the defense is going to get any better. I mean, look, we watch Memphis put up 120. 2 nights later, then we see Miami put up 130,
right,
or 132 to be exact.
Well, as it relates to this week, you have Miami, you have Dallas, and then you have Orlando. They're coming up against, or where in the case of Miami, and especially without Bam, and the Mavericks, like defenses that like you don't really have to like, worry about per se. Orlando's defense obviously is going to be tough and they're stout, but when it comes to Miami and Dallas, look, they can be scored on. And so whether or not he's going to get extensive minutes, look, he's the highest paid player. So he's going to have to be their workhorse. But it also depends on the supporting cast and if everybody else is doing their job. If you're getting production from Mikal Bridges is still there. If you're getting production from Clarkson, who had a good week as well. We'll talk about that in our new segment, Fanchise Forecast. But if you're getting a good quality production from those guys, Deuce, this is even a time for Yabusele to step it up with no OG, right? Like, if you're getting good production across the board from those guys and we're taking a look at the schedule, hey, you may not necessarily need to play Carl on the closer to 40 side. Well, we'll have to see which direction Brown goes in. You know what I mean?
I hear you, man. And, like, hopefully that is the case, that we get the production from everybody. But, look, I expect Cat to shoulder most of that workload, man. Just because, as you pointed out, you're the $50 million guy. You're brought in here for your offense. So if we're not going to have Brunson on this team right now for God knows how long, you got to go out there and produce.
Yeah, that's a fact. So it is the big bodega or bust here, Al, if you will. And he's going to have to get it done.
Bodega or bust, CP.
Bodega or bust. Speaking of Towns, man, happy birthday once again to the big bodega. He celebrated his birthday and celebrated it in sentimental fashion. Al, I'm not sure if you saw this. This went viral.
I did see it. Jordan Woods with the top tier job, man. Top tier.
On the social circles, man. Congratulations to Towns and shout out to his lady Jordan Woods. She found his childhood family car. That was, I'm guessing this is the same car that was driven by his mom. And so she says, during the summer, Carl asked if I could drive any car for a day, which one would it be? I answered, and his response was, I wouldn't pick anything crazy. I just really love my mom's car she had when I was a kid. So I went on a mission these past months to find the car. Shipped it across the country, got it fixed up, and was able to surprise him on his born day. It's nice, man. It's a beautiful thing, man.
Beautiful sentimental gift, man.
Yeah.
And if you see the video of him riding around, he's just like, he's just shocked. You can see that he's just elated with the
shit is so
being back in the car,
man. The best thing ever.
There you go.
What? Shit is so fire. This is the best thing ever.
now he looks like a bumper car for Carl Anthony.
It does
Towns.
with him in the front seat. It is crazy. They were not thinking 7-footers were going to be driving this thing, man.
Not in the 80s or the 70s or no, not in the 80s. Whenever that car was made.
Man, the cabin headspace is not even there.
Yeah.
He is up against the windshield. There is no room.
It looks like a clown car, But shout out to him. That's a beautiful thing and a great way to remember his mom. I'm sure he was very touched by that. And so shout out to Jordan Woods. That was a fantastic job by her. And a great gift for Carl Anthony Towns. So salute, man. Salute. Salute to everybody in the chat once again, Al. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. I want to shout out our franchise channel members in the chat. Salute to them. Shout out to my guy Armand Dutta, Al. He sent us a $200 Cash App to the KFTV Cash App earlier this week. A big-time supporter of the show. Shout out to Armand Dutta, franchise channel member for a long time as well, man. Sent us a $200 super chat, so we definitely appreciate that. Shout out to Janelle Torre, Al. Shout out to Will Latimer. Both of those guys representing our Atlanta contingent. Who else do you want to shout out in the chat, man?
We got Eric L. Beats in the building as well. Shout out to Eric, man. Who else we got here?
Yeah, Eric did a great job, man. KFTV watch party, man. We had great turnout in Clinton Hall 36. Great job.
Let's go. I see that we got our chief modern operation, TM, in the building. Shout out to our guy, TM.
Let's go.
Who else we got in here? We got the aggravated man. Shout out to you.
Okay. Aggravated, always in here and aggravated, man. Shout out to him, man. Always on cue. Always.
We got Justin Presley in here as well. Shout out to Justin. We got Daniel. Is this Bejour in here? Is that how we pronounce it?
Yeah, Daniel. Daniel's always in here, man. Shout out to Daniel for sure.
Oh, and we got more KFTV members in here. We got Jalen.
Okay.
The editor of our newsletter here. All right.
Shout
So shout out to KFTV Jalen.
For sure.
What else we got? And we got Don John. Shout out to Don John as well.
Don John, salute to you, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody had a great weekend. And we just recap, man. Knicks Weekly, episode 134. Like, share, and subscribe. Join the mission to 100K subscribers. We're at like 98.3. So we're getting there. We are getting there.
Inching our way there.
We are inching our way there. We're getting the ladies downstairs planning right now for the party, for the 100K party. And so we're getting there, man.
I could just see Maria now, just like she's got the cork board. She's mapping it all out, drawing everything, getting everything set up.
No question. All right, so we're definitely getting ready for that. Orlando fam, we are getting ready to invade the city, man. The KFTV Road Warrior World Tour is hitting Orlando, Al. They've been asking us to get down there for years. CP, come to Orlando. We're coming to Orlando this Saturday. District Gastro Bar is where the pregame happy hour and meetup is happening. The RSVPs are flying off the shelf here, Al. And, it's going to be a fantastic time. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Shout out to my Fanchise channel members as well. Make sure you guys are coming through. And it's going to be a great time. District Gastro Bar, 1:30 p.m. is the meetup time. The game starts at 5:30. So make sure that you guys are there. And, the game starts at 5. Game starts at 5 on Saturday. The meetup is at 1:30. Meetup at 1:30. RSVP, it's all free. Just come through, but RSVP so we have an accurate head count at KFTVmeetup.com and KnicksFanTV.com. All right?
Well, I know it's not too hard to get you down to Florida, man. Anyone says warm weather, you're like, oh, I'm right there.
Man, bro, we can't stop the wind from blowing out here in New York. It's been windy for 5 straight days, man. Literally. I've never seen anything like this. Nobody has what type of weather we have. It's been windy for 5 straight days in New York.
Bro, it is brick. It is crazy. Brick outside. Yeah. It is insane.
Yeah.
I'm like sitting by the window and I'm like, yo, I have the heat going right now. How do I feel a draft? This is crazy.
Yeah.
It's not like I got old windows either with like some storm windows type stuff. This is modern windows we're talking here.
Crazy.
Vinyl.
Shout out Dave L. Rodriguez. Shout out to the number 37, Al. They said they'll be there. They're pulling up to Orlando.
Let's go.
No doubt. Shout out to them.
Notice how I say CP come to Boston. He's like, yeah.
Bro, we got you there for the Boston post-ups, man. We got you there, man. You represent New England. That's your territory, man. If you want to go to Maine, you want to go to New Hampshire, my guy Luis Pachanga's up there in Vermont. Luis Guzman. Yeah, Pachanga's up in Vermont, man. He lives up in Vermont, bro.
Yeah, well, let me choose a different Chicago. I can only imagine dead winter in Chicago. So
hey,
like, oof.
You got that whole out frontier right there, man.
Oh, wow. You're giving me... I can see how this
Indy, you want to go to Indy?
Was...
We'll call Michael White. We'll tell him to accompany you.
Oh, God, man. I'm trying to get back home alive. I'm not trying to get out there wasted. Sheesh.
You want to call Michael White? Listen, man, it's busy times out here. I got to pick and choose my locations, man.
If you were the district, well, you are the district manager. If you were the district manager, you're like, all right, man, you, Alex, you get all the cold spots. I don't got to go there.
Yeah,
you. All the hot spots, I'll go there. California,
you in Boston, man. You're used to the cold, man.
You live in New York. What's the difference?
It's a little bit nippier up there. Come on, man. It's a little bit nippier up there.
Same-ish, bro. Same-ish.
All right, man. Salute. Yeah, John Altere. Yeah, Pachanga's in Vermont, man. He lives up in Vermont. He likes it up there. Luis is up in Vermont. Lives up there. But yeah, man. Busy times, man. And you know what? Speaking of busy, Al, we got a shout out to another one of our sponsors of tonight, and that is Doer. Shout out our guys over at Doer Jeans for sponsoring tonight's show. We definitely appreciate that because, listen, man, I'm always on the move, Al, whether it's games, events. We had the watch party this past Friday. Shout out DJ Eric L. Beats. We're going down to Orlando on Saturday, so because I'm always traveling, I'm always on the move, I need to make sure that I'm rocking jeans that are comfortable and that can keep up with my lifestyle, man. And that's why I'm rocking my new Doer Jeans, man. Let me tell you, it's an absolute game changer, man. They sent me their performance denim. The relaxed straight. They sent me the performance denim, and I like them, man. I like them. You know, I wasn't really familiar with the brand, but once I started doing my research and they sent it to me, I'm digging it, man. I definitely like the performance denims that they sent me. And what's good about them is that they have a cool max technology, so it keeps you cool. It's hot when it's warm, and when it's cool when it's hot, and it keeps you warm when it's cool, man. So they're also antibacterial, so they stay fresh longer. Less washing, more wearing. That's a win in my book, man. It's a perfect combo, man. Style like jeans, comfort like joggers. You look sharp, you feel good, and you're ready to take on whatever the day throws at you. So do yourself a favor. Go to shopdoer.com right now and get 15% off your first order. That's shopdoer, DUER.com/KFTV. Because trust me, man, once you put on a pair of doers, you're not going back to your old jeans. Doer. Made for the doers, made for the franchise, man. Salute to our guys at Doer for sponsoring tonight's show. And like I said, man, they got a ton of products. They do have jeans, but they have shirts too. You have the flannel shirts. You have your sweaters. You have jackets. Obviously, for the fall and winter season coming up, this is the type of gear that you want to use to layer up with. So definitely check them out. Shopdoer.com. And once again, our code is KFTV for 15% off your order. Okay. Shout out to our guys at Doer, man. Shout out to our guys at Doer. All right, Al, we ready to rip the bow off the new segment, man?
Let's get it rocking,
Are you ready to rip the bow off the new segment, man? Let's do it,
Born
man.
ready.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. Because the new segment, Al, is called The Fanchise Forecast. That's right, man. On the Fanchise Forecast, we recap the week through the lens of the Knicks' hottest and coldest players right now, and we react to it, man. Where you want to go, Al? Do we want to go? Because you just spoke about the cold weather, which was a good segment by you to segue into the Fanchise Forecast new segment, man. Do we want to start with the cold, or do we want to start with the warm, the hot?
So let's start with the cold, man. If we're talking about cold, we'll end on a good note with the hot.
Let's start with the cold. And look, man, you know, it's really nothing new with this guy because he's been cold literally since he signed the check with the Knicks, and that's Guerschon Yabusele, Al. You know, only 2.7 points per game, shooting 31.8% from three after shooting 40% with the Philadelphia 76ers last year. 2.7 points, 2.5 rebounds on 9.6 minutes a game. Are you concerned about Guerschon Yabusele, and how does he bounce back here, man?
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, I'm at a 3 right now. I'm not too worried. Still very young. Look, he had a lot of opportunities to just do a lot of running with Philly. He's not getting that here. And I think with the injuries that you just mentioned earlier, he's going to get that run. And I expect him to bounce back and be a little bit stronger. The shooting has actually been pretty decent over the last couple of games. Shooting like, you see like the last 3 out of the last 5, he's shooting over 60%. So I think he's coming around. I know it's low volume, but I think he'll come around. It's just defensively, man. I think that's just him getting conditioned and just him getting more minutes. But I expect him to get this thing turned around. He's just going through a cold slump right now.
Yeah, I'm going to be patient, man. He was one of the guys that I thought that we should have been patient with, just because I thought he was going to have a major adjustment to the system, to not being just featured. And look, it's a lot of mouths to feed on this Knicks team. This isn't Philly from last year where he had a lot of guys injured and you could just run up stats. It's a different situation here, and he has to adjust to being a star in his role, which means, as you said, defensively, getting after it on the rebounds, and efficient offense whenever it comes, knocking down those threes whenever you get an opportunity. But I also think that the Knicks can do a better job of finding him on those mismatches whenever it allows, and whenever it allows for him to take advantage of. And so, look, now's the time with no OG Anunoby. Guerschon Yabusele has a chance to get comfortable here, and now's the time for him. Now, let's get to our next guy on the cold front, Al. And this has been a little bit tricky, man. But how about Deuce? How about Deuce, man? You know, Deuce McBride, last couple of games, Al, if you look at his stat sheet, 9 points, 9 points, and 9 points last 3 games. But overall, for the season, Al, he's shooting 40% from the field. Yes, 36% from 3, but hasn't been a great output from Deuce. Miami game 16 from 3, 40 from the field, 37.5 from the field for Orlando. What do you think about Deuce? Not as freezing as Yabusele, but a little cool for Deuce, man. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man, it's a little cool. I mean, look, he did miss some time due to personal reasons. So, coming back and trying to earn your spot, not necessarily in the way that I'm saying, like, he lost his spot, but just earn your minutes and, like, truly just get back into offensive flow. That is sometimes very tough for guys like that. But look, man, through the last 7 games that he's played, he's averaging about 20 minutes, which not bad. So he's getting the opportunities to work through it. It's just that he's only shooting 41% right now from the field over that time. But CP, 4 of the last 7 games, he's shot over 40%, which is not great because you need his shooting. That's the whole point. You need, especially from downtown. He's a guy who's going to space the floor and be your best perimeter player. And right now, he's giving you the defense, not necessarily giving you the offense. But I do believe that he'll get out of this at some point, man. We always see it from Deuce, especially last season when he dealt with injuries. I expect him to turn it right back around. It may just take a little bit longer.
Yeah, Deuce is a guy, man. He comes and goes in cycles, and I think this is now just a little valley for him. Hey, maybe personal issues. Sometimes we don't take that into account with players, and he's actually questionable for personal reasons for the Miami game on Monday. Not sure if that's tied to the passing in his family that sidelined him a few weeks ago. So maybe that's a factor as well. We got to give Deuce some time. But as you said, you need his offense. The defense is fine, but you need Deuce's offense and shooting out there. And it just hasn't been on point over these last few games, as you mentioned. And now he has another adjustment to make because with no Jalen Brunson, I expected him to be the starting point guard of this team. But as you saw in the Miami game, the Knicks couldn't get any fluidity when he was out there running the point, at least in the beginning. They couldn't get the paint touches, and they didn't have that consistent dribble penetrations for those driving kicks. And so for Deuce, that's another role that he's going to have to excel at with the captain out. Another adjustment for him. So the shooting and the playmaking is going to have to improve in those minutes. Now we move to the warm front, my part of the map, Al, if you will. All right? Now, first guy we got to talk about, man, because as you've been saying in these post games, he's far from cardiac, but we got to put some respect on Jordan Clarkson's name. Last 3 games this week, 14 points per game, 52% shooting from the field, 46.7 from 3 for Jordan Clarkson, man. What have you liked about Clarkson? He's a plus-minus 5.3 on the week. What have you liked about Jordan, man?
Clarkson has just been playing so efficient, man. That's been my biggest thing about him. Over the last 7 games, Jordan Clarkson has been averaging, 13 points per game, but shooting CP 55% from the field, 44% from downtown, 86% from the free throw line on just 2 attempts per game. But the guy is doing it, man. When you're asking for him to just be a scorer, he's giving you just that. And the assist numbers is not showing the complete picture of the playmaking because he's averaging only 2 assists over the last 7 games. But he's been a good playmaker too, man. He's just been getting the paint touches, kicking it out to the perimeter, finding guys in the paint with those dump off passes. Clarkson's been giving you great minutes, man, and he's giving you 13 points, and he's averaging right now through the last 7 games only 19 minutes. So Clarkson has been just a breath of fresh air after not having a sustainable scoring bench for a guy who can create for himself. Dude is fantastic, and I only expect him to have more of an impact while Brunson's out because you're going to need that type of creator.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. My thing with Clarkson that I've been impressed with, especially this weekend, as a counter to how he started the season, which was kind of slow, the efficiency, but the decision-making. The decision-making has been good. He's been aggressive when he needs to. The where we would call him cardiac, the chucking, if you will, really hasn't been there. He's really been very contained. And I like his energy defensively. Like, look, he's going to have his weaknesses. He has his vulnerabilities defensively. But I like his effort overall and understanding that, look, he understands his role coming off the bench. Instant offense, get the Garden up and go and give him that energy. And without Captain Clutch Jalen Brunson and without OG Anunoby, he's another guy whose offense you're going to have to live and die with how he plays. But so far, he's having a good week, and he is on the warm side of the franchise forecast. Now, as we keep it going now, Landry Shamet, come on down, man. Shout out to ShamWow, Shamsanity, whatever you want to call it. Landry Shamet got his MSG moment on Friday against the Miami Heat. But overall, Al, he's heating up, man. 19 points per game this week. 63% shooting from the field and 47% shooting from downtown. Obviously, he had the explosion against the Heat for 36 points. But, hey, 11 off the bench for Orlando and 10 off the bench for Memphis. And I think, look, for a bench player for his slot in the rotation, those are good numbers for him. But to come out with the 37-point explosion, man, looks like Landry Shamet is ready to roll without OG Anunoby, without Jalen Brunson.
The thing I like about Shamet, man, is that he constantly plays with energy. You know, you don't have to go into a game not knowing if Shamet's going to bring it tonight. He's always going to bring it, and I love how he competes on defense. Not your greatest defender. We saw Norman Powell take it to him, but you can always count on that he's going to be a guy who plays with high energy. But the efficiency right now, CP, and this is why they brought him back, is because of the efficiency of his shooting. And we're going to see a little bit more than just being a three-point shooter. We're seeing him doing those curls and getting to the mid-range. We're seeing, him driving and taking it to the cup, especially against Miami. The efficiency is just through the roof right now for Sham. I mean, over the last 7 games, and I'm choosing the last 7 games because the Knicks have won the last 6 out of the last 7. But when you look at what Shamet has done during that time period, dude is averaging 13 points in 23 minutes, 56 from the field, 52% from downtown. And we're not talking about some small volume either. We're talking about close to 5 3-point attempts per game. So the guy is giving you just what you need, being a guy who's going to put the ball in the hoop offensively, especially from downtown when you're looking for spacing. I love what Shamet's been bringing, man, for the Knicks.
Yeah, all 3 levels. And I talked about it in that Heat game. What impressed me the most was, yes, he can get those catch and shoot threes, but he was shooting contested threes with confidence and knocking them down. And then at the same time, attacking the paint. OG's gone. Brunson is gone. Who is going to get the Knicks the paint touches that they need? Let's see if Landry Shamet can carry that over into South Beach on Monday and beyond, because the Knicks are going to need this version of him, this aggressive version of Landry Shamet, to maintain their winning ways. But speaking of him, he deserved his accolades this week after coming off of the separated shoulder last year, not really getting the consistent minutes from Tom Thibodeau off the Knicks bench last year when they really needed him. And so now Landry Shamet, it's his time to capitalize on some playing time with the absence of some of the Knicks' top gunners. Now, also on my list on the franchise forecast, Al, warming up, Josh Hart. Gotta come to the stage, man. 10 points, 6 rebounds, 6.7 assists this week. And again, just a counter to how he started, where he's going. I thought Josh Hart had a great week, and I think he's heating up right now, man. He looks very comfortable in this Brown offense, very aggressive. He's getting the Knicks out in transition. As I mentioned that earlier in the show, with no Captain Clutch Jalen Brunson, I thought Josh assumed the point guard duties very well and had himself a triple-double off the bench against the Miami Heat. Josh Hart is heating up, Al.
Josh Hart is heating up. I mean, look, he had that 14-rebound game when he first returned against Boston. From those next 3 games, the guy looked like a shell of himself. I mean, the game that we all had where it was like, is Josh Hart even going to be that effective this season? Was that first matchup against Chicago. 15 minutes, didn't make one single basket, only got 1 board and 1 assist. Since then, CP, Since then, through the next 7 games, this is what Josh Hart is doing for the New York Knicks. He's averaging 26 minutes, getting you 12 points per game, 54% from the field. He is shooting a whopping 46% from downtown with 3 attempts per game, shooting 89% from the free throw line, getting you 7 boards, 5 assists. Josh Hart's doing the damn thing. And we saw, as you mentioned, what he did against Miami. He stepped up in a big way, and I expect him to do the same thing as we are without Jalen Brunson for TBD, man. TBD without Jalen Brunson.
Agreed. And last but not least, Al, we talked about him. He was our player of the week, and he's heating up on the franchise forecast. Karl-Anthony Towns, 25 points per game, 12 rebounds, 4 assists. On 38.5% shooting from 3, 1.7 steals. The big bodega is heating up for the New York Knicks. Overall, just gotta love his aggressiveness. We know who Karl Towns is at his peak powers, but a lot of the times it's between the ears with the big bodega, and you had to love his approach this week against inferior defenders, if you will. No, Triple J is not that on the Memphis side, but for Miami with no Bam, that's dog food. Pin the ears back and get ready to go, and that's what Karl-Anthony Towns did, and that's what I'm going to be expecting from him this week as they face off against the Heat. They head over to Dallas, and then they head to Orlando to finish off the week.
Look, man, Towns was a jungle cat, and all I needed to do is just to continue being aggressive. That's it, man. That's my analysis. Phenomenal. We already went through it. Phenomenal performance by Karl-Anthony Towns. Just continue to be aggressive.
The big bodega. And that was the segment, Al. The franchise forecast. Let us know what you guys think in the chat. All feedback appreciated. We're gonna evolve this segment. We're gonna have graphics to go along with it. I might get my Al Roker on. The lady wifey's telling me I gotta throw on the half suit. Got my Al Roker on. Maybe I gotta have the real forecast in the background on a green screen. She wants me to go all the way with it. She wants me to go all the way with it.
Now, you see here, ladies and gentlemen, you see how the stock is going up and how it's dipping now.
Yes.
This is what I project.
She wants me to go full meteorologist with it. So we'll see. We'll see how this thing evolves, man.
Next thing you know, CP's going to be giving you your DraftKings outlook predictions.
There you go. Well, that'll come. Shout out to DraftKings, sponsor of the show. Full disclosure. Okay, Al. So let's take a look. We'll wrap up taking a look at the week ahead at the schedule. As I mentioned, the Knicks will have their third matchup against the Miami Heat on Monday. Then they will go to Dallas. They'll see the number 1 pick, Cooper Flagg, the point guard of the Dallas Mavericks. And then they will see Orlando for the second time. What are you expecting this week? And give me your record prediction.
All right, so you got Miami, you got Orlando, and who was the last team that you had on
Dallas.
there?
Miami
Dallas,
Monday,
right.
Dallas Wednesday, Orlando Saturday.
Going 3-0.
Okay.
Yeah, man, look, I'm very confident in this team. I like what I saw against Miami on Friday night. I think they could do the same thing. Guys, just tell me you didn't go out partying this weekend, all right? Just tell me you just didn't go outside, all right? Just stay in the hotel. We don't need to be going to the clubs. Don't be touring South Beach. Yeah. You're on a mission right now. So hopefully you didn't do that. Go out there and do the damn thing. Orlando, they just took it to you, man. Go out there. Go get your revenge. And then Dallas is just in an inferno right now, man. That city might be burning down.
Right now.
Nico's out there, looking for a new job.
Yeah.
It's all sorts of bad.
I think Nico's left the city. There's no way Nico's sticking around. He's leaving. He's probably going to Miami or something like that. Nico's leaving the city. But
if you see his house for sale, it might get damaged.
Yeah, it might get damaged. Yeah. I think the Miami one is interesting. This is going to be the third matchup with these two teams in less than a month. The third time they're facing off against each other. So they were quoted in the papers to talk about, Karl-Anthony Towns talked about the fact that this is kind of like a simulation playoff matchup, if you will. And the Knicks got game 2. And now Miami is going to look to make their counters. And what will the Knicks counters be? How will Miami handle Mitch on the boards? What will be their process there? I didn't look and see if Bam is going to be available for this game. I don't know, maybe take a quick Google search. but certainly that will change things and help the Heat defensively. You know, what's the Knicks' plans for Norman Powell, man? They have not had an answer for this guy. Nobody's really had an answer for him. No. You know, with all due respect, like nobody in the league has really had an answer for Norman Powell. But what's going to be the game plan? We're going to talk about the Knicks zone that we saw against Miami. Shax is going to be on the show tomorrow. So for tomorrow's lunchtime edition of KFTV, we'll break down some of the zone defense that we saw from the Knicks. And I think we're going to see some more of that on Monday, but we'll see how the Heat counter with that. So yeah, going to be fascinating to see how these two teams come out the gate tomorrow for this game. Winnable game for the Knicks, but man, that Heat pace was something to watch. It was one thing because I was at the game when they faced off the first time in Miami. And again, that was early season. But it's one thing to watch it in person, and then it's another thing to kind of watch it on TV when you're looking at scoreboard and shot clock and everything. That Heat pace is serious, boy. Serious.
Bro, it's insane. I mean, you could not look down for a second or you were missing something. You'd be hearing oohs and ahs. You're like, wait, what did I miss? Gotta rewind. I mean, both teams were moving at a high rate. So I expect the same thing. You know, it's funny because me and Brady talked about, this is going to be, probably a slow, grinded out game. Wow, defense. Nope. Threw that out the window real quick.
Out the window real quick. So, yeah, that Miami game will be interesting. Dallas, I think we should have no problem. But even, hey, you never know what could happen. But I think they'll be fine against Dallas. And then Orlando, revenge. Orlando sent them a message this week. at least it got me thinking because, nothing to be afraid of or concerned with, but Orlando showed me something.
I'll just say, CP, it will not be a good look if the Knicks get punked again by Orlando based on physicality.
Yeah,
it will not be a good sign for that team. You know you're gonna have the articles and the naysayers out here bright and early.
Yeah. But the thing is that for the Knicks, you're down two of your most physical players as well. Or some, Cap in his own way, and OG for sure. Just kind of back against the wall situation.
I get that, but some will still say that this team is very talented, so you should still be able to do it while you don't have them.
Okay, so you're going 3-0. What do you guys think in the chat, man? What record are you guys going for?
Hold on one second. I love how you pivot to the chat. You're not even giving. What's your take, man? What do you think?
Am I going? What's my prediction?
Yeah. Here you thought you were about to leave the show without giving a prediction. That's what you're doing over there.
I'll go 3-0.
Ooh, there we go. That's what I like to
I'm
hear.
with you. I'll go 3-0.
Let's go.
We're taking this game tomorrow night, Monday, in Miami. Now, if Deuce doesn't play, I think it gets a little tricky. If Deuce doesn't play, that'll get a little tricky. So I'm a little less confident in that one, but I'm still going to go for it because it's Miami, and we'll never.
I will never give Miami the benefit.
We will never wave the white towel to the Miami Heat ever.
No.
Dallas, we should be fine, and Orlando, we're going to the game, so we're going to bring the good juju. So we're going to win the game against Orlando. I'm going 3-0. I'm with you, man.
Let's go. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
You had me concerned a little bit. You were looking down, had the shadows of the brim over your eyes. I had no idea where you were going for a second.
It's 3-0. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go, man. Anyway, man, great show, bro.
Right back at you.
Great show. So as far as the schedule, again, we'll have Shax on Monday, lunchtime edition. We'll break down some film. Monday night, Knicks versus Heat post-game live. We have a special guest. Dr. Bitterman is coming through to talk about the Brunson ankle injury, and he's an orthopedic surgeon here in New York City for Northwell Health. So it's going to be an interesting conversation, man. We'll get Adam Bitterman. He's a Knicks fan and an MD, man, and an orthopedic surgeon now. So we'll get to talk that talk and learn some new things tomorrow night. So make sure you guys zap in there. Post-game live. He'll be on around 10:30, but we'll start around 10. We'll have the Dallas game. Maybe we'll talk to Harp as well. Maybe I'll talk to Harp. We always like to talk to Harp when the Knicks and Dallas face off against each other. So we'll talk to Harp about the latest with both teams. And then we'll do Game of the Week. Preview will be Orlando again. So we'll do that on probably Thursday. And then we'll have Orlando play-by-play and Orlando post-game, man. So that's pretty much how the week is going to be shaping out. Anything else happens, you already know, man. Lock in. Number one show for the fans by the fans. Shout out to our sponsors at Manscaped. Manscaped.com. Use code KFTV for 15% off plus free shipping. And Dura jeans. Check out the jeans lineup. They also have women's lineup as well. Go to shopdura.com. Use our code KFTV for 15% off your order. Al, any last words, man?
Any last words?
Yeah.
Thank God the Jets didn't play today.
Hey, man. Hey, one thing I'll say, I want to see whatever happens with the Giants season, who cares? Throw it in the garbage. I want to see Jameis Winston back hella high water with this team.
Ooh.
Not as a starter, as a backup.
Eat them W's, baby.
I like him a lot, man. I like him a lot. I think he's just what this team needs. He's what this league needs. And he's unapologetically himself. I just respect that about him. And, didn't got the job done. It was a competitive loss. They lose the game on an interception where Hyatt doesn't run the route completely. Drew Brees throws him under the bus in the telecast, and I'm going to go with Drew Brees. He stinks. So, hey, not Jameis's fault. Giants competed. I enjoyed the game. I thought the running game, they had a great running game today between Tracy and Devin, who's the short guy? Singletary and Tracy, man. The run game was potent, man. That looked like some Jacobs and Ward type of Thunder and Lightning, Jacobs and Bradshaw back in the day. So, those type of things. You want to be entertained, and still you want them to lose so that they can get a draft pick and get serious about their football team. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now you explained what a good loss was.
Great loss
for today.
Fantastic loss. I was pleased with the outcome in the acceptance phase of my Giants fandom. All right?
Wow.
Yeah.
You were once riding high, winning Super Bowls, beating Tom Brady. Now you're looking at like, all right, man.
Nah, I got the fatigues on fully, man. I'm in the tank. Get serious. And get some football players in here, man. Stop messing around, bro. But
what do they got now if they don't got football players? What do they got?
Man, a mess.
Oof.
A mess. Going nowhere fast. But yeah, man, great show, man. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to our franchise channel members. Oh, this super chat came in here from Janol Torre, Al, real quick. $5 super chat from Janol Torre. Shout out to Janol. It said PCP and Alex. What trades or upgrades are we anticipating this trade deadline, if any?
I think it's still a little too early to see what the needs are.
It's early. Well, I think we do know what the needs are for now. It's at the wing or the backup point.
I mean, I agree with those two. You could even say center at this point, man.
And you could say center because if Okporty's not getting those minutes, you could say center as well.
That's what I'm saying, man. So like,
there's something
I think it's
there.
still too early.
Yeah,
it's still too early.
Yeah,
it's going to really be dependent on how guys are playing. This is a great time period for this. If you think about it from a front office perspective, great time period to see who's developing, and then you can address the real need by the deadline.
100%. So yeah, good job there. Shout out to Janelle Torre. All right, Al, great show, man. Rhyme Animal Chuck D in the chat. Shout out to the legend. Make sure you guys check out our show earlier this week, remembering the great Michael Ray Richardson. We had a great conversation there. Go back in the archives if you guys haven't already and check that out, man. A lot of people have comments like, man, like me. A lot of people like, man, this was eye-opening. I learned a lot because he was a guy that a lot of us did not know too much about. So that's why, man, we did a great job. We brought on the Rhyme Animal Chuck D and a co-author who wrote the book with Michael Ray Richardson, Jake Eady. He was based out in Seattle. Talks about that. We talked Knicks with him as well, but he was able to kind of provide some insight on Michael Ray Richardson as well, man. So make sure you guys go to archives, check that out. Al, have a great week. See you on Monday, everybody.